YouTube or people watching. This is how to solve the last layer of a Rubik's Cube. So, if you're like some people, you can intuitively solve the first two layers. If you can't, that's fine. There's some really good beginners tutorials out there for how to do the cross and the corners and the edges. And pretty much, yeah, just go out and learn those. This is more the last layer, which requires harder, which is the harder part, where you require algorithms. And those algorithms can sometimes be hard to remember. So I've tried to reduce them down to stories that are easier to remember. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing you want to do is make all the yellow flipped up. So we see these two aren't yellow, but these two are. Now sometimes you'll get cases where there is there's a bar. There's three cases. Okay, there's a bar fully solved, or there's four cases. Sorry, there's either there'll be no yellow, so imagine those are gone. There'll be one dot. There'll be yellow and an L. There will be no yellow there. There'll be just a yellow bar, or all of them we've solved. Now we're going to start at the simplest. So we're going to start it here. If you find nothing, you're going to want to do this algorithm, which you'll use for all of the cases where there's L's, flipped or non-flipped. But this is just because you want to get a setup to a case. So what you're going to want to do is, with nothing there, you want to do this. You want to do an F move, which will bring up this giant. And then you're going to want to do an R move, which will bring up this midget. And you can see there's a giant because he's 3 white tall. There's a midget because he's only 2 white tall. Or 2 stickers, I guess. Try not to be racist. The giant could be blue. It doesn't matter. Anyways, so once you have a giant and a midget by doing an F and an R, the midget's angry at the giant because he's taller than him. So with the U move, he blows his head off. And the midget, because he hears sirens from the police, decides to hide. So we bring the right down. The giant is actually fine. He went to the hospital. He got checked out. His head's okay. So we're going to do a U prime to bring his head back, and then he's going to hide. And now you can see that that's set up to one of the different things. So when you have this with just the 2 yellow, ignoring these corners, when you have an L shape, you're going to put it to the top and to the left. The yellow facing to the top and to the left with these open ones at the bottom. And you're going to repeat. So you bring up the giant, bring up the midget. Midget blows the giant's head off. Midget goes into hiding. Giant's head is okay, and then brings back down. This will bring us to our other case where there's just an eye. Now with just the eye, or the horizontal line, you keep it horizontal, not vertical, and you keep it horizontal. And then you do the giant again. Giant, midget, blows his head off, hides, giant's okay, goes back into hiding. Now we have our yellow cross. Now we can focus on the colors. We're going to ignore the colors for now, and we're going to focus on just these colors. So what you want to do is find 2 that are solved and put them, 2 that are solved together. Right now, this is one of the cases where it requires the algorithm to fix that. So we're going to use the same algorithm to fix all these anyways. So you want to find 2 that are the same, put on top to the right. But right here, no matter how many times we spin the cube, we can never get 2 that are solved together. So we're just going to do this algorithm, which is the kid with the boomerang. So this kid right here, he's no longer, this isn't a giant, the giant's that, okay? So this is a kid. Imagine that top sticker is a boomerang, and this little part's the body of the kid. So he throws this boomerang. This kid, he's fearing of the boomerang coming back and hitting him in the head, so he hides. The boomerang goes a little bit farther. The kid decides he wants his boomerang back, so he comes up. Boomerang comes back, and he catches it. Now, if you do that, you will now find that somewhere along the cube, 2 stickers will be solved that are next to each other on the cross. So here we find it. We have blue and yellow. They're solved, and then these 2 are switched. So when you have it like this, where 2 need to be switched, you put the solved ones behind and to the right. So the solved ones behind and to the right, the unsolved ones right down here. And then what you'd want to do is the kid with the kite algorithm, or kid with the boomerang, sorry. So there's the kid, throws his boomerang, goes into hiding. When it goes farther, kid decides he wants his boomerang back. Boomerang comes back, and then the kid hides. Then you will find that your entire cross is solved. Okay, now we can get started on the corners. And we're going to want to find a corner that is solved. Well, not in the sense that it's solved, it's that it's in generally the right place. So this is yellow, blue, red. This is in the yellow, orange, green section, so that's wrong. This is the yellow, orange, green, and the yellow, green, red. That's wrong. Yellow, green, red, yellow, blue, and finally you'll find one, or not, that is in the right position. So we have a yellow, orange, blue, and a yellow, orange, blue. Sometimes you'll find it where there's none in the right position, but here we're lucky and one is in the right position. So if you don't find it in the right position, you want to do this alk. But if you do and you find one, you're going to want to put it in the right position in the bottom left-hand corner. And you want to go Towers algorithm, which Towers is called Towers because of this. You want to do an L prime, which brings up this tower. And it is unfortunately under siege, and the top of the tower gets blown up. It's like the giant. Now, the people who are destroying this tower decide to build their own tower next to it. You do an R to bring up their tower. And this other army is designed to rebuild the tower and also destroy this tower. So you bring back the top of their tower, and they decide to go into hiding because they don't want to be destroyed by their army. And then this tower decides to get rebuilt, so it brings it back and also goes into hiding. So then you bring back the cross, and then you'll see that that is still in the right area. But what that alg just did was it rotated these corners, so it swaps them. So if you do that like we just did, and it does not solve these, so you can see that's the yellow, green, red, and the yellow, orange, not all the thing, and those are all wrong. Then you do it again, put it in the bottom left, and you do it again. You bring up a tower, gets blown up, other tower gets blown up, rebuild that one, down, and fix your cross. What that will do is it will solve eventually. It will solve all of these. So that's the right color in the right spot. That's the right colors in the right spot. That's the right colors in the right spot. But they're all flipped. So how we flip it is we do this. We do this one algorithm. So right now, all of them are flipped. It doesn't matter. So we can just choose any spite. Eventually, we will have to pick some sides to hold the cube. But for right now, we do the kid with the kite in a different way, or the kid with the boomerang in a different way. So the kid comes up, but instead of throwing it just a little distance, goes the entire way to the back of the cube. And the kid goes into hiding. The boomerang comes back a little bit more. The kid decides to catch it and hides. And then you do it mirrored. So you do it with your exact same with your left hand. So the kid comes up, throws his kite twice over to the back. Kid hides. Kite comes back. Kid jumps up, catches that kite, goes back down. And now we can see that if we do that enough times while holding the cube in the same place, that it will rotate these corners. So all the algorithms does is rotate these two corners. So once these two are solved, we can now find the other corners, which are over here, get them over here, and then do the same thing, which this alg will rotate these two corners as well. So the kid comes up, throws the boomerang, hides, boomerang comes back, kid jumps up, catches it, do left hand. Kid jumps up, throws his boomerang, hides, boomerang comes back a little bit, jumps up and catches it. Now this will happen sometimes. You may need to rotate it twice because there are three positions on the corner and there's three positions where it can't be solved. So you will have to do it twice. You can do it twice at maximum or just once. Once again, kid comes up, throws the kite, hides, kite comes back, jumps up, catches it. Kid jumps up, throws the kite, hides, comes back, kid jumps up and catches it. And that is how you solve the last layer of Rubik's Cube. Now, this is the part where you can stop. If you've got this down, you don't need to continue. This is the part where it's going to be getting a little bit more advanced. I'm just going to be mixing up the middle layer of the cube now. This is where I'm going to introduce things that can get you into faster, which is 2-look, OLL, and PLL. OLL pretty much means you're orienting the yellow face to make all the yellow flip up at once. Now, full OLL, which requires 57 algorithms, you don't need to learn all those. You can just learn beginners, or 2-look, which is what this is going to be kind of an intro into. 2-look, you do a lot like you do the same. You create a yellow cross, but then instead of making the cross fix itself, you flip the rest of the yellow up using 7 algorithms, one of 7 algorithms, and then you would do one of 2 algorithms to simplify the last layer and then finally solve it. We got to skip where we don't have to do an algorithm. We can immediately do the last one with a really simple last layer algorithm. And then if you really want to upgrade from 2-look, OLL, and PLL, what you can do is full-look CFOP, which I will hurry and demonstrate a solve through the viewfinder of the camera. This will stay. This is the fastest, most efficient way, but you don't need to learn all the algebra for it. So we'd solve across, just like you normally would do, and then do edge pairing, which is in Friedrich method, or F2L, I mean. So, yeah, sorry, this is really hard to do with the camera. So once you get to the last layer, you would flip up all the yellow with one of 57 algorithms, and then you'd move all of yellow around with one of 21. So yeah, this was just a tutorial on beginner method last layer. You can go out and find Tuluk by Crazy Rad Cuber. He does a really good video on Tuluk, OLL, and PLL. And then if you want to go further, you can find full OLL and PLL algorithms out there, but you don't need them until you're sub 20. I only learned the rest of PLLs when I was sub 20. And then I learned the rest of OLLs when I was around sub 19. And they've gotten me down to about 14 seconds. So, yeah. So this is the last layer and what you can do to get faster by learning different methods. But pretty much just learn the algorithms, make sure they're all muscle memory so you don't have to think about doing it, the giant, the midget, blowing his head off and stuff. Just where you can do it without thinking. And then pretty much that's it. Goodbye.